All right, Gravel Throat Reviews here, and today I have an album review of the brand new EP from Blackwater Holylight entitled If You Only Knew. Blackwater Holylight is a doom metal psych rock band from Portland, Oregon that also utilizes elements of pop and shoegaze. They have a handful of albums and singles in their discography, but today we are talking about the brand new, just dropped yesterday EP, If You Only Knew, which is out on the record label Suicide Squeeze Records. Let's get into this album now. The first song on the EP is Wandering Lost, which is a doomy slow burner that blossoms into an energetic crescendo that is pretty gratifying. In the beginning, there is a nice, clean, airy arpeggio lead that feels hopeful and serene. Sonny's vocals creep in with whispered melody that feels personal and intimate. This is a multi-phase track at almost 7 minutes, and the flow and song structure is very well thought out. It takes you on a journey through a number of emotions and feelings. The midpoint of the track is a dismal, doomy riff that is great, has a great guitar tone with ample amount of dust and grit. The drumming on this part is energetic but controlled, with some interesting work on the higher and lower toms and the snare drum that creates quite a bit of tension. The bridge on this song is quite unexpected and gratifying because the track could stand on its own with just the previous sections, but instead they chose to drop this bouncy, energetic riff that feels like the payoff after a long and tragic voyage. Then the track drops back down into the familiar feeling of despair as the song fades out. Wandering Lost was a single for this project that was released last month, so I've had quite a bit of time to sit with this already and kind of digest it. And I love the balance between the abrasive and the heavenly textures, which is a reoccurring theme within this genre in general. In terms of lyrical themes, they seem to tell a familiar story about navigating through this life, feeling lost, just feeling around in the dark, trying to find your way to any sense of relief whatsoever. Highly relatable content, definitely. The second song on this EP is entitled Torn Reckless, and as it starts, you're immediately transported to a whole new world and a new sensation. While this song, Wandering Lost, was more organic and vulnerable, this track stands in contrast with a more futuristic and cinematic feeling. I picture a sleek black car driving through a rainy cityscape with like a neon signs reflecting off the clear coat. This song has a great hazy shoegaze feel with some more angsty riffs that feel more modern. The lyrics seem to be about staying by the side of a partner through all the reckless behavior and the lazy winters and lazy summers. I love the mood of this track and the vibrato that enhances select phrases in the refrain. This song is fantastic. Really dig that track. That is Torn Reckless. And moving on to the third track, which is called Fate is Forward. This one starts with a distant riff that feels like you're listening to a jam session of a band through the wall of their practice studio. Then the track melts into this slow, clean lick with these beautiful vocals. I love the phrase, in the absence of you gamble as fate is forward. This section has a strong Chelsea Wolfe feel as well, which I love. Then the song erupts into this grungy 90s style riff that feels nostalgic and driving. I love how in the beginning of every verse, the story of the song unfolds further. The first line of the first verse is, "In my dreams is a vacant wall." Then the first line of the second verse is, "In this part I have built this wall." Then the first line of the third verse is, "Now I sit yelling at this wall." So in my interpretation, this is the evolution of a personal reflection that starts with seeing oneself as a blank canvas, then later observing the defense mechanisms and scar tissue that come as a result, then coming to terms with what's been created, and finally looking back and like screaming at the former you that made those mistakes and those bad decisions. I like the concept of this track a lot, and also the dreamy, ethereal instrumentation is fantastic. Moving on to the closing track, which is entitled All I Need. This song starts out barely audible, then fades into this slow breakbeat with some distant distortion in the background. Sonny's vocals come in with this delicate and heavenly inflection that feels shy and vulnerable. I absolutely love it. The song seems to be about a lover that is volatile and selfish at times, but it's understood that that person is still a perfect match for your soul. I love the lyrics that read, "I am the next act, waiting in the wings. I am an animal trapped in your hot car. I am all the days you choose to ignore. but you are all I need. I really like the part when she says, I'm lying in the middle of your picture, lying in the reeds. I'm a moth who wants to share your light. I am just an insect trying to get out of the night. I love the contrast between self and a single insignificant insect that has its basic needs like the light and the safe place to rest and just be. And it's very humanizing. In terms of the instrumentation, it's very minimalistic in a very good way. We just get these steady, constant drum rhythm paired with some xylophone notes that sparkle in the midground. The atmosphere is this gorgeous, distant sound that could be either as a filter guitar tremolo or maybe a synth pad. I'm not quite sure what it is, but this evolves into an uplifting, hopeful, almost black gaze inspired riff that draws the album to a close with a distinct feeling of resolution and relief. Great choice for a closing track. The flow of this EP, I think, is just immaculate. If you gave me all 4 of these tracks and told me to put them in an order that I think is best, I would put them in this exact order. I mean, the flow is great. In conclusion, I absolutely love this EP. Every track tells its own story and can stand on its own, but it also works great with the collection. This is probably my favorite body of work from Blackwater Holylight to date. It's their most mature, personal, vulnerable, and wise in terms of songwriting. They are really paying attention to the small details of the flow and the emotional storyline of this EP, with no unnecessary interludes or extended intros that bloat the record. Like I said in a previous video, I traveled to Chicago a few months ago to see Amon-Ra, Primitive Man, and Blackwater Holylight, and I got a chance to meet them at the merch table, and they were super nice and sweet, and that goes a long way for me. But yeah, I love this EP. Fantastic work. I give it a strong 8.8 out of 10. Great album. Yep. So thanks for checking out this review. Massive shout out to Blackwater Holylight. Listen to them on Bandcamp, YouTube, or any streaming platform. Give them a follow on Instagram to stay informed about their upcoming tour dates that are coming up soon. I have some shirts for sale. If you're interested, send me a DM. No worries though. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you being here. This is Gravel Thorpe Reviews. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.